Now let's take a look at the funnels editor. So if you want to change any element of your page, you would click here on this button and access the editor. On the left, you will see all the elements that you can add to your page. You can scroll all the way down. There's plenty of elements, plenty of options that you could use. And on the right, you will see the page that you're editing. So you can customize, modify, add and remove any element you want. Pages are created with sections. Inside the sections, we find rows. Inside the rows, we find elements. For example, here, there's a text element. If I click on the text element, I will see that the text element is placed inside a row. This row is placed inside another row. And then there's a section that contains all of the elements I just mentioned. When you click on an element, you will see the settings for that particular element. Each one has different options. The options appear on the left when you click on the element. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that we can customize. With our editor, you truly let your creativity take over and customize as much as you want. We have different types of elements. So the first one you'll see here is the text element. You would use it whenever you want to add text to your page. It's a really easy to use element. You just need to drag it and drop it wherever you want it to go. Like here, for example, I just added text element and then I would remove the default text and just add my own text. So whatever you want to write. Right above your text, you'll find the basic quick editing tools. So with this menu, you can change the color. For instance, let's make it red. You can also edit the basic formatting options like making it bold, italic, or underlined, and also making it clickable by adding a link to a file or a URL. The rest of the options, will find them on the menu on the left whenever you select one of the text elements. Now let's take a look at the rest of our text elements. So we have the plain text, the one I just used, and then we have the headline element, which you can use to add titles to your page. And finally, we have the bullet list, which is pretty self-explanatory. You can use it whenever you want to highlight key takeaways or really anything you would like to list. And the very last element for this category of elements is the content box. So think of this box as a highlighter. When you use it, you immediately have a row inside of the box, which you can use to add text, images, videos, audio files, or really anything that you would like to highlight. Let's continue with our media elements. If you would like to add one of these elements, you would just drag and drop the element on your page, and when you click on it, you'll see the settings of the elements you just added on the left. Let's use an image as an example. So I would just drag and drop it on my page, and then to actually look for the image, I would click on the image file upload icon, and once there, you can upload it from your device or click on your images, which are the images you previously uploaded to your account and are saved there for easy access. So just select your image and click insert. For videos, it's the exact same procedure. You can upload videos from your device, but you can also add them with a direct link if you host them on a different platform or add an embed code. Audio files follow the same structure as the two previous elements. You can add them from your device or through a direct link to an external source. So let's move on to a really cool element here, and that's the carousel element. You can pretty much add any kind of media file to a carousel, and then it will be shown as slides in your page. So what you're going to do is you add your carousel to your page, then click on it to open its settings, and then you start adding your slides one by one, clicking on Add New Slide. And then what you'll do is you'll drag any element you want to each of your slides. So for my first slide, I'll just go ahead and add an image. Then I'll go back to carousel, select the second slide and add a video and so on. And that's how you easily create a multimedia carousel on your page. Let's take a look at the column layout elements. These elements are used whenever we add a new part to a page or when we create a page from scratch. If you want to build your pages and want a clear picture of where to start or what goes first, this is it. We usually start with a section. So for example, let's add a section right here. Now that we have a brand new section, we can go ahead and add rows. Then we can add a column element like the 3 columns element inside the row. Then inside the element, we can add other elements that we want on a page. For example, an image here, a video here, and then an audio file here. Of course, we can customize the space between each element, and we can move the element from a place to another, and also from row to row. You just have to drag and drop the elements wherever you want them placed. Next, we have the form element. So you can create forms easily on any page on Systeme.io, but you need to know that in order for a form to work, it must always have at least these two parts, a form input element and a button. Like here, for example, we have a form input, which is the visitor's email address, and we have the button to save the information given on the form. Now, if you want a successful subscription, you must make sure that the action for the button is set on send form. We have other actions for our buttons, but if you're using a form with form inputs, you need to use the action send form in order to save the contact's information. We can add other form inputs to ask for any information we want. For example, we can add a second form input here, and we can choose the type first name. So like here, I will be asking my page visitors to give their first names and their email address in order to subscribe. Another useful element you should consider adding to your forms is a checkbox. This element is used so that your subscribers can give their consent and approval for receiving emails. If you decide to add a checkbox, it will be mandatory for subscribers to select the checkbox in order to send the form. So make sure it sends out, and that way you don't miss on any new leads. Now let's take a look at our social elements, starting with Facebook comments. So you can add a box where visitors can leave comments with their Facebook profiles. Keep in mind, other visitors will be able to see the comments left by previous visitors. We also have a handy Twitter share button. You can add this button any place on your page, and when someone clicks on it, they can share the page on their Twitter account. If you want to add other social media buttons that redirect to your social accounts, then you can do that as well just by adding each individual icon as an image and adding the URL of your account like Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, or really any other platform. The last social element we have in our menu is the survey element. So this element can be used to ask questions to your page visitors and also as a lead magnet. So when you click on the survey, you will see the options here. You can click on edit survey questions here. You can add the questions, and then you add the answer options for each question. The results for this survey element are not public, meaning not everyone who visits the page can see previous results for other visitors. Instead, they will appear in the contact page of the visitor who opts into the survey. So every time someone comes to your page and uses the survey, they will be subscribing using a form at the end of the survey, which is the final step. You can customize this form aspect of your survey by clicking here. And now let's go to the very last group of elements. Here, you will find other very useful elements that you can use for other page objectives and goals. So the first one is the countdown element. You can add a countdown easily on the page, just like any other element, just by dragging it into place. When you click on the countdown, you will be prompted with its settings on the left, and that's where you choose the type of countdown that you want. So we have these three options: a fixed time and date, a delayed countdown, and a daily countdown. It really depends on what you're using it for. Countdowns are usually used to create urgency around a promotion or an event, meaning once the countdown expires, the offer will no longer be available to your visitors. You can set the action of what you want to happen when the countdown expires. You can go with doing nothing or redirecting to a URL. So for example, let's say you're live launching a course and you're running an early bird sale that will end on a fixed date. You can set this date and then redirect them to another page, a different URL, where you let them know that the promotion or the sale has expired. Next, we have the menu element. This is a great element to use at the top of your page or really anywhere on your page if you're building a more robust page where you want your visitors to be able to find several links and be redirected to other pages. This is an element that can contain many items. You can click on it and start adding your menu items. You would just add a name, that's the one that will be displayed on the menu, and then the link. So whenever someone clicks on it, they can be redirected to wherever you want them to go. Moving on, we have the horizontal line element. This is a design-only element. It doesn't really have any technical function. You can use it just to divide sections or just whenever you need a line divider. And then we have a really useful element, and that is the HTML row element. So you would use it whenever you want to add a code, a script, really any kind of code to the page in order to show an external element that you might want from somewhere else. So you would just add the element and click on it, and then you'll find the space to paste your code or to add your code. And whatever code you put here, it will show on the page as the actual element that you're trying to integrate. Last but not least, we have the FAQ element. FAQ stands for frequently asked questions. And this is a must-have element if you get the same questions over and over again from your clients, or if you can anticipate questions in regards to your offer. They really save you a lot of time. So you can click on the element, you drop it wherever you want, and then you add the questions here. And then for each question, you can respond with an element. So adding an element inside the box. For example, you can add a text element and just write your response, or you can even answer with a video. You can add any element you'd like here to add your response.